The rainy season had just begun in Buganda. The air smelled of wet soil, and frog croaked happily at night. One Saturday morning, Kato received words that some respected elders from the trading center would be visiting his home. They wanted to discuss business about buying coffee from his farm. For Kato, this was important. If the elders respected him, it would bring honor and money to his household. He told Namutebi early that morning, "My wife, prepare well, sweep the compound, clean the mats, fetch water, and cook a good meal. Today, important guests are coming. They must see that our home is in order." Namutebi was still in bed, turning lazily under her blanket. She yawned and replied, "Do not worry, my husband. I will do everything. Just go to the garden, and when you return, food will be ready." Kato believed her. He left with a hopeful heart. But as the sun rose higher, Namutebi still lay on her bed. Around noon, she finally got up, stretched, and went outside. The compound was dirty. Chicken droppings scattered everywhere. Yesterday's banana peeling laying near the kitchen, and flies buzzing around the water pots that smelled foul. She looked around and shrugged. Hey, too much work. I cannot finish everything today. Let me just rest. After all, guests only come to talk, not to inspect dirt. So she dressed herself in her finest gumensi, decorated her arms with bangles, and spent hours plaiting her hair and painting her lips with flower juice. By the time she finished, the sun was already tilting west. She had cooked nothing, swept nothing, and cleaned nothing. That afternoon, Cato returned with the elders. His face was proud as he led them through the gate. But the moment they entered, their smile faded. The compound was a mess. Flies rose in clouds, buzzing in their ears. The mats on the veranda were dusty and full of dog hair. A foul smell came from the water pot, as if frog had died inside. Chickens chased each other across the yard, scattering droppings everywhere. One elder whispered to another, "Hey, is this the home of hardworking Keto? It smells like a goat pen." Another elder shook his head. "Beauty cannot sweep. Look at his wife. Look at the wife he chose." Kato's heart sank. He tried to ignore the whispers, forcing a smile as though he welcomed them inside. Namutebi walked out, swaying her hips proudly. She was dressed like a queen, her face glowing. "Welcome, our visitors," she said sweetly. "Please sit." The elders sat, but their eyes kept roaming over the dirty house. They waited for food, but none came. They waited for water, but none was served. Namutebi only sat beside her husband, smiling and adjusting her beads. After an hour, the eldest of the elders cleared his throat. "Kato, we respect you. We came with joy. But in our culture, a wife shows honor to guests by serving food and drink. Have we done anything wrong to be treated like strangers?" Kato's face burned with shame. He looked at Namutebi. She only shrunk and whispered, "Why didn't you tell me they wanted food? I thought they came to talk only." Kato swallowed hard. He rushed to the kitchen, but the pots were empty. No matuke, no beans, nothing. His stomach twisted with anger. The elders shook their heads and stood up. A man's home is measured by his wife's hands. If the hands are dirty, the home is dirty too. Think about this, Kato. And just like that, they left, leaving behind only shame and whispers. That night, Kato sat silently, his head heavy. Namutebi tried to cheer him up. "Do not be angry, my husband. Guests will always come again. Next time I will cook. Stop frowning. Look at me instead. I am beautiful. Does that not make you happy?" But her words stabbed his heart instead of healing it. He turned away and lay down without replying. Outside, The moon looked down, silent witness to a marriage beginning to crack. The morning after the elders left in disappointment, the compound was heavy with silence. Kato went to the gardens before the sun was even fully awake. His face clouded. Namutabi, as usual, slept until the cock crowed for the second time. When she finally came out, stretching and humming lazily, she met her mother in law, Nasali, sweeping the compound with quick, angry stroke. Mama, why are you frowning like that? Namutebi asked casually, picking at her painted nails. Nasali stopped sweeping and planted the broom firmly on the ground. Her sharp eyes pierced Namutebi. My daughter, I kept quiet because I did not want to quarrel. I thought you would change with time. But now I see you are like a rock in the river. Water passes over you, yet you never soften. Namutebi giggled, pretending not to take the words seriously. Hey, Mama, what have I done now? What have you not done? Nasali snapped. Guests came here yesterday. Elders, men of respect. They left without food, without water, without even a clean place to sit. Do you know the shame you have poured on my son? Do you know how the people are laughing in the village? They say Kato married beauty, but beauty cannot cook. Beauty cannot sweep. Beauty that smells like dirt. Is that what you want for your name? Namutebi shifted uncomfortably. She had not expected such sharp words. Still, pride rose in her chest. Mama, I am beautiful. My husband loves me. Why should I break my back every day like a servant? If food was so important, he could have told me earlier. Nasali's eyes widened. She raised her hand to the sky. Hey, Mukama, do you hear this girl? She thinks beauty can sweep. She thinks beauty can boil beans. Listen to me, Namutebi. In Buganda, a wife is known by her hands. Lazy hands bring poverty. Dirty hands bring disease. And careless hands destroy a home. Your beauty will fade, but the shame you plant will grow tall like weeds. But Namutebi tossed her head proudly. You are old, Mama. Your ways are not my ways. Times have changed. Women do not have to sweep in the sun to be respected. My husband married me because I am beautiful. That is enough. Nasali's heart burned. She dropped the broom and pointed at her with trembling fingers. My daughter, hear me today. A woman who despises work despises her own crown. Laziness is like fire hidden in dry grass. It looks small, but one day it will burn everything. You may laugh now, but remember my words. You will cry later. The air was heavy. Namutebi said nothing more, only turned and went back inside, muttering, this old woman liked to talk too much. When Kato returned from the garden that evening, his mother pulled him aside. My son, open your eyes. This woman will finish you. She has no respect for work, no respect for culture. Already people are laughing at you. If you continue to defend her, you will carry shame alone. Kato's face was troubled. He loved his wife, but his mother's words cut deep. That night, he lay beside Namutebi. He looked at her beautiful face shining in the moonlight and whispered in his heart, is beauty enough to keep a home? But his mouth still said nothing. His patience held him like a rope. Though the rope was beginning to fry, weeks passed, but nothing changed in Namutebi's behavior. If anything, she grew lazier. She slept late, left clothes scattered in the bedroom, and piled dirty dishes until flies covered them. The water pot stank worse each day, and cockroaches began to run freely in the kitchen. Kato tried to cover her fault, but his face grew darker with each sunrise. He returned from the garden tired, only to find no food prepared. Sometimes he roasted maize by himself and chewed it in silence while Namutebi sat painting her nails. One evening, after a long day of weeding, Kato entered the house. The smell of sweat, rotten leftovers, and unwashed clothes hit his nose. He stopped at the door, his heart heavy. Namutebi, he called. Do you not smell this? The house is dirty. The plates are still unwashed from yesterday. The bed is unmade. What do you do all day? Namutebi looked up from the mirror she was using to admire her face. She frowned. Do not talk to me like a servant, Kato. I am not your maid. If you want a clean home, then hire a girl to help. We are not poor. Kato's heart sank. He had no money to waste on servants. His wealth was in his soil, and soil demanded sweat every day. Still, he bit his tongue. I will be patient, he told himself. She will change one day. But the death soon showed his teeth. One morning, Namutebi woke up scratching her skin. Red rashes covered her arms. By midday, her stomach began to rumble painfully. She groaned and rolled on the bed, sweat covering her forehead. Kato! Hey! Kato! My stomach is paining. Do something, she cried. Kato rushed to her side, worried. He ran to call traditional healer from the village. The old woman entered, her eyes sharp as a hawk. She looked around the dirty room and the piles of clothes, the unwashed plates and the rotten food crawling with maggots. She shook her head. My son, she said, your wife is not bewitched. Her sickness sleep in these deaths. The flies from the dirty dishes, the cockroach from the kitchen, they have carried sicknesses into her stomach. If she does not change, more sickness will come. She prepared herbs and gave Namutebi a bitter drink. Namutebi groaned and complained, but after 2 days she became better. Instead of learning her lessons, she laughed. Eh? I thought it was witchcraft. Just stomach pain. That is nothing. At least I am still beautiful. Kato's heart broke a little more. He remembered his father in law's words. Beauty without hard work is like a pot without bottom. Meanwhile, neighbors whispered louder. Children pointed at Kato's compound and said, that is the dirty house. Women shook their heads in pity. One evening, Kato's closest friend, Muwanka, pulled him aside. My brother, why are you suffering in silence? You are hardworking, but your wife is spoiling your name. Your mother is worried. The village is laughing and you are losing respect. Why do you still hold on? Kato sighed deeply. I love her, Muwanga. I believe she would change. But now, I am beginning to wonder if patience has limits. That night, as he lay on the mat beside Namutebi, he stared at the ceiling and whispered to himself, love is heavy when carried alone. And the rope of patience began to thin even more. In Buganda, family gatherings are sacred moments. They are times to celebrate, share food, and show respect. One bright Saturday, Kato's uncle sent words. All the clan members will meet at Kato's home. We must discuss the upcoming wedding of your cousin. For Kato, this was a great honor. Hosting the clan was not small. It was a chance to prove himself as a responsible man, a worthy son of his father. His chest swelled with pride as he told Namutebi, my wife, this Saturday is important. The whole clan will come here, my uncles, aunties, cousins, even the elders of the clan. Please prepare the house well, sweep, cook enough food, and make sure the water pots are clean. This is your time to shine and to prove them wrong. Namutebi nodded lazily, twisting her hair. Do not worry, my husband. I will make them remember me. Everyone will talk about my beauty. Kato shook his head. No, my wife. They must talk about your food, your cleanliness, your respect. Beauty alone cannot feed guests. But Namutebi only laughed. Hey, you worry too much. Leave it to me. The day of the gathering arrived. By mid morning, relatives began to walk into the compound. Drums sounded from afar. Children ran around and laughter filled the air. But instead of a clean home, they found chaos. The compound was unswept. Chicken dropping lay in corners, and the mats were dusty. Flies buzzed around the dirty kitchen. Some women covered their nose, whispering to each other. When the first group of elders sat down, they asked, "Where is the food? Where is the water?" Kato hurried inside to check. To his horror, Namutebi was still sitting in front of a mirror, painting her lips with juice from hibiscus flower. She had spent the whole morning dressing herself in the finest gumasi and braiding her hair, but she had not cooked even one pot of beans. "My wife," Kato whispered sharply, his voice trembling with anger. "The clan is here. Where is the food?" Namutebi frowned. "Hey, why are you shouting? I am going to start soon. Guests like to talk first, then eat later. Besides, you should be happy I look beautiful." Kato felt his blood boil. He rushed outside, sweating. The relatives were growing restless. Children cried with hunger. Elders murmured with disappointment. Finally, one old man cleared his throat and spoke loudly. "Kato, when people enter a home, they expect to find the smell of food, the sight of water, and the warmth of a wife's welcome. But here, we find only dust and silence. Are we strangers in your house?" Kato's face burned with shame. He tried to explain, but the truth was clear to all. His wife had failed. At last, his mother, Nasali, could not hold back. She stood up in front of everyone and pointed at Namutebi, who had now stepped out proudly, swinging her hips in her shining kumasi. "My in laws, my brothers and sisters, see for yourself. I have spoken until my mouth grew dry, but the girl refuses to change. She thinks beauty is enough. She despises work. She despises cleanliness. And she despises respect. The shame you see today is the fruit of her laziness." The crowd gasped. Some shook their heads. Others whispered. One aunt stood up and added, "A dirty wife is like a broken pot. She cannot hold water. She will only leak shame for her husband." The elders nodded in agreement. Kato felt like the ground should swallow him. He sat silently, unable to defend his wife anymore. For the first time, anger and regret wrestled in his chest. As the gathering ended, the relative left muttering. Some laughed, some pitied him, but none respected him. That night, Kato did not speak to Namutebi. He sat outside staring at the moon, while she complained inside, "Your family embarrassed me today. They do not like me because I am more beautiful than their daughters. Let them talk. I do not care." But Kato did not care, for the rope of patience was now only a single thread, ready to snap. After the family's gathering of shame, Kato's heart was never the same again. Once he looked at Namutebi with eyes full of love, but now, every time he saw her, he also remembered the whispers of his relative. A dirty wife is like a broken pot. In the mornings, he stopped waking her gently. Instead, he rose before dawn, fetched his own water, and went to the garden without a word. Namutebi noticed the silence. "My husband, why are you so cold these days? You used to laugh with me, hold me, and call me sweet names. Now you act as if I am invisible." Kato only sighed. How can a man laugh when his stomach is empty and his house is dirty? The word cut deep, but instead of changing, Namutebi grew angry. "So you are now blaming me? Did I not leave my father's big house to live here with you? If I wanted, I could go back and enjoy servants and plenty of food. You should thank me for staying." Kato turned away. His patience was a dying flame. As days passed, the cracks widened. When he came home hungry, he no longer asked if food was ready. He would pass the kitchen, see the cold cooking stones, and walk to his mother's hut to eat. Sometimes he cooked for himself, pounding matoke in silence while Namutebi sat under the mango tree polishing her nails. At night, when she tried to draw close to him, he turned his back. "I am tired," he said. "Let me sleep." Namutebi felt the distance, but lied to herself. He is only moody. Soon he will soften. After all, no man can resist a beautiful wife. But the neighbor saw everything. They noticed how Kato no longer walked with his wife to gatherings. They noticed how he no longer praised her, no longer bought her beads or clothes from the market. Instead, he worked harder in the garden, as if trying to bury his pain in the soil. One evening, his friend Mwanga came again. He found Kato sitting alone, staring at the stars. My brother Mwanga said softly, I warned you. Marriage is like a garden. If the woman refuses to weed, the man cannot harvest in peace. How long will you carry this burden alone? Kato shook his head slowly. I thought patience could change her. But now I see patience cannot clean place. Patience cannot sweep a compound. I am beginning to wonder if I married a wife or just a face. Inside the house, Namutebi overheard the words. Her heart stung, but her pride rose higher. Instead of humbling herself, she hissed, let him talk. Men like to complain. He will not leave me. I am too pretty. But beauty was losing its power. For the first time, Kato began to imagine a life without her. That night, as Namutebi slept soundly beside him, Kato lay awake, whispering to himself, a home built on beauty but without work is like a house built on sand. One day it will fall, and in his heart, he began to prepare for the day when the sand would give way. The dry season had come. The grass around the compound turned brown, and dust rose with every step. One evening, Kato returned from the garden. His back ached and his throat dry. He expected to find water waiting, or at least food on the fire. But the compound told a different story. Dirty clothes were scattered across the line, half dry, half falling in the dust. The kitchen was silent, no smoke, no smell of food. Inside, Namutebi sat humming softly, polishing her toenail with a stick. Kato dropped his hoe at the door, his chest heavy as he looked around. Finally, his patience snapped like a dry twig. Namutebi, he thundered. She jumped, startled. Hey, why are you shouting like that? What has happened? Kato stepped closer, his voice shaking. What has happened? Look at this house. Look at the compound. Look at me. Sweat from morning to evening, yet I come home to dirt and an empty stomach. You are my wife, Namutebi. Is this how a wife behaves? Namutebi frowned, trying to defend herself. Why do you always complain? I am not your slave. If you want food, cook it. If you want the house clean, sweep it yourself. Am I the first woman to relax? At least I am beautiful. People admire me. Kato's eyes blazed. Beauty? Will beauty feed me? Will beauty clean our house? Will beauty give me respect before my people, Namutebi? Listen well. Beauty fades, but shame grows. You are not just embarrassing me, you are destroying our home. She folded her arms. Her lips pushed out stubbornly. So now you're regretting marrying me. You forget that my father is rich. If I wanted, I could go back and live like a queen. You will still be digging here in the sun like a common man. Those words struck Kato like a spear. He stared at her in disbelief. His voice dropped low, heavy with hurt. So, that is how you see me, a poor man you pity. Then tell me, why did you marry me at all? Was it to mock me every day? Silence fell. For the first time, Namutebi looked uneasy, but her pride was stronger than her wisdom. If you are tired, then send me back. I will not beg you. Kato shook his head slowly, his heart breaking. You think this is a game, Namutebi, but a marriage without respect cannot stand. I have carried this burden long enough. From today, I will not defend you. You will live with the fruit of your hands, lazy as they are. He picked up his hoe and walked out into the night, leaving her stunned. That night, he slept in his mother's hut. For the first time since their wedding, husband and wife did not share a bed. Namutebi lay awake, tossing and turning. Her pride told her, he is bluffing. He will come back. He cannot leave me. I am too pretty. But another voice, small and sharp, whispered in her heart, what if beauty is not enough this time? The moon shone coldly through the window, watching a marriage hanging by a thread. Morning broke with the cry of the cock and the sound of pounding millet from distant huts. In Namutebi's home, however, the silence was heavy. Kato had not returned to their house. He spent the night at his mother's hut, sleeping on a papyrus mat. When Namutebi woke up, she expected to see him sneaking back, but his side of the bed was still empty. She frowned, muttering to herself, he is only trying to scare me. He will come back when he misses me. But as the sun climbed higher, the truth became clear. Kato had made up his mind. That day, villagers passing by noticed something strange. Kato was working in the garden with his mother instead of eating lunch at his home. At sunset, instead of walking back to Namutebi's house, he washed himself at his mother's hut and stayed there. Whispers began to flow like water. Have you seen? Kato no longer sleeps in his wife's house. Why? Is there any trouble? They say Namutebi is lazy. She cannot even sweep the compound. Hey! Did you not hear about the shame during the family gathering? Even the elders left hungry. By evening, the gossip had spread through the whole village. Women sitting under the big mango tree shook their heads. Men in the trading center laughed bitterly. Children teased one another. Do not be like Namutebi, or your husband will run away too. Back in their house, Namutebi sat alone. The once busy compound was quiet, only filled with flies buzzing over dirty dishes. She tried to act proud, saying loudly to herself, let him stay with his mother. I am not the one losing. But when night came and she lay on the empty mat, her heart ached. She tossed and turned, remembering how Koto used to hold her close, how his laughter once filled the house. Now the silence was her only companion. The next morning, Kato's mother, Nasali, visited. She entered the house, looked around at the dirty plate, the unmade bed, and the dusty mat, and shook her head. My daughter, see what your hands have done. A man has left his own house because of laziness. Do you think people will respect you now? Already the whole village is talking. Gossip is a drum. You beat it once and everyone dances. Now Mutabi's face burned. For the first time she felt shame rising in her chest. But her pride still covered it like a cloth. Let them talk, Mama. I do not care. My beauty is enough. Kato will come back when he cools down. Nasali sighed deeply. You are a child playing with fire. One day, you will find yourself standing in arches. She left shaking her head. Meanwhile, Kato sat quietly with his friend Mwanga that evening. My brother, Mwanga said, the village is talking. If you continue this way, it will be clear to all that your marriage is breaking. Kato looked up at the sky, his voice heavy. Let them talk. I am tired of living in shame. If she refuses to change, then let the world know. I am no longer bound by laziness. The crack has become a wound, and the wound was now visible to the whole village. And Namutebi, though she laughed on the outside, began to feel the cold hand of fear in her heart. The gossip about Kato and Namutebi spread faster than wildfire in dry grass. It reached every ear, from children at the well to men in the trading center. Soon, it reached even farther, to Namutebi's parents in their large respected home. One evening, her father sat on his wooden stool, his face clouded with shame. Villagers had whispered in his ears, laughing at him. Hey, Silango, your daughter is beautiful, yes, but she cannot cook. She cannot clean. She cannot even welcome guests. Your son in law has left her house. The words pierced him like thorns. He clenched his working stick and turned to his wife. Do you hear this? The shame you planted with your soft hands is now bearing bitter fruit. I warned you when she was a girl. Teach her to work. Teach her to cook. Teach her to clean. But you said she is beautiful. She will marry well. Now look. Beauty without work is like sugar in a rotten mango. It fools the eyes, but inside it's poison. Namutebi's mother bowed her head. her heart heavy. She remembered how she had always defended her daughter, praising her beauty, buying her new clothes, and excusing her laziness. Now her husband's words were true. Her heart ached with regret. That morning, they both set out for Kato's home. They arrived to find the compound just as the village had described, unswept, dusty, and littered with chicken droppings. Kato was nowhere to be seen. He had already gone to his mother's hut. They entered the house and found Namutebi lying on the mat, painting her nails. She sat up quickly when she saw them. Mama, Tata, you did not tell me you were coming, she said nervously. Her father's eyes were hard. He struck his walking stick on the floor. Shut your mouth, girl. Do you think we came to admire your beauty? Do you think we walked all the way to look at your painted nails? We came because the whole village is laughing at us. They say our daughter is lazy, dirty, and shameful. They say her husband has left her house. Is that the name you carry for our family? Namutebi opened her mouth to speak, but her mother stopped her with a sharp look. For the first time in her life, her mother did not defend her. Namutebi, her voice trembling with disappointment. I covered for you when you were a girl. I told myself your beauty would carry you through. But I was blind. Now see what your hands has cast. You are losing your husband, losing respect, and losing your home. My daughter, is this the life you wanted? Tears filled Namutebi's eyes, but her pride rose again. She wiped her face quickly and said, why is everyone against me? I am still young. I am still beautiful. Kato will come back. He cannot survive without me. Her father's anger boiled over. He lifted his walking stick high, then dropped it hard on the floor. Stupid child! Foolish daughter! Beauty cannot cook beans. Beauty cannot wash plates. Beauty cannot keep a man's heart. You are killing your marriage with your own hands. If you do not change, you will return to the house in shame, and you will carry that shame until your last day. He turned and walked away, his heart heavy with disappointment. Her mother lingered for a moment, her eyes full of tears. She touched her daughter's shoulder softly and whispered, now, Mutebi, listen to wisdom before it is too late. Pride is a poison. Humble yourself, or you will lose everything. Then she followed her husband, leaving Namutebi alone with her tears and her stubborn pride. That night, Namutebi lay awake, her heart battling itself. Part of her wanted to change, to work early, to clean, to cook, to humble herself before her husband. But her pride still whispered, he will come back. He cannot leave me. I am pretty. Yet, deep down, for the first time, fear gripped her like a cold hand. The days rolled by, and the silence between Kato and Namutebi grew like widening river. He spent more time at his mother's hut and sometimes even slept at his friend Mwanga's home after a long day in the garden. The village no longer whispered, they spoke openly. Children sang mocking songs when Namutebi passed by. Pretty face, dirty house. Her husband ran away like a mouse. She tried to walk proudly, swinging her hips, but inside the words cut her like knife. One evening, Kato's uncle came to visit. He sat on the veranda with Kato, chewing roasted maize. His voice was low but firm. My son, I have seen your struggle. Marriage is meant to bring peace. But your eyes are tired. Your heart is heavy. A man can endure hunger, but he cannot endure shame. If your wife refuses to change, then you must decide whether to live in shame or live in peace. Kato nodded slowly. The words echoed in his heart that night. The very next morning, Kato returned to his house, determined to speak to Namutebi one last time. He found her lying lazily on the mat, humming a song while scratching her hair. Namutebi, he began, his voice calm but sharp. I have been patient. I have warned you many times. Even your parents came and spoke to you, but you refused to listen. Tell me, do you want this marriage, or do you want your beauty to be your only husband? Namutebi rolled her eyes. Why do you always threaten me? I told you, I am not a slave. If you are tired, then leave me. I will not beg you. There are men out there who would fight for me. Kato's eyes turned hard. His heart broke, but his decision was made. So be it. From today, I release you. Go back to your parents' home if you wish. I will not carry shame anymore. He picked up his hoe, walked out, and this time he did not look back. Namutebi sat frozen, her pride shaking. She waited for him to return that night. He did not. She waited the next day. Still, he did not. By the third day, word spread through the whole village. Kato has left Namutebi. The marriage is finished. People shook their heads. Some pitied her, others mocked her. Her friends stopped visiting, afraid of sharing her shame. That night, Namutebi sat alone in the empty house, staring at the dirty dishes, the dirty mats, the silence. For the first time, her beauty felt like a useless mat. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She whispered to herself, maybe Tata was right. Maybe Mama was right. Maybe I am the one who destroyed my own home. But it was too late. The rope had snapped. 3 days had passed since Cato left. He never returned. The neighbors had stopped pretending. Some passed by and shook their heads. Others whispered loudly enough for her to hear. She thought Beauty would cook food. She thought Beauty would sweep the compound. Now Beauty cannot keep her warm at night. Each word stabbed her like a knife. Finally, her parents came to fetch her. Her father, Zilango, entered the dirty compound, his face full of shame. Her mother followed quietly, her heart heavy. Daughter, her father said, his voice thin but tired, pack your things. Your husband has sent words through the elders. You no longer want this marriage. You will return to our house in shame. Namutebi's knee trembled. Tears poured down her cheeks for the first time. Her pride was gone. She knelt before her father and cried, Tata, forgive me. Mama, forgive me. I thought beauty was enough. I despised work. I despised respect. I despised wisdom. Now I am empty. My house is empty. My heart is empty. My marriage is gone. Her mother knelt beside her, tears falling. My daughter, I too must beg for forgiveness. I spoilt you with my hands. I praised your beauty but never taught you wisdom. I defended your laziness, and now it has destroyed you. We are both guilty. The two women wept together. Their father shook his head slowly. Crying cannot rebuild what you destroyed. A broken pot cannot hold water. You have learned the lesson too late. But let your story teach other women and mothers. Beauty is a flower. It fades. Work is a tree. It grows and gives a shade forever. They gathered her few belongings, and with heavy steps, Namutebi left her husband's house forever. Kato, meanwhile, rebuilt his life with peace. He worked hard, regained respect in the village, and his heart healed slowly. Though people asked if he would marry again, he always said, this time I will not choose beauty alone. I will choose a wife who can build a home. As for Namutebi, she lived quietly in her parents' home, no longer the proud village beauty, but a woman marked by regret. She helped her mother with chores now. Her once smooth hands raw from late lessons in work, but in her heart, she always whispered, if only I have listened, if only I have humbled myself, my home would still be standing.